If you're a guy that wants to build muscle and lose fat, then you need to be mastering these 5 movement patterns. Now, these are just the basics. I see so many guys, when they start getting into the gym, they go straight for the machines and they go straight for the cardio equipment. And I don't know why. It must be because they feel intimidated or they feel like they're just not quite ready yet to be going and mastering the basics. But this should be where everyone starts. And once you master these 5 movement patterns, you're not only going to be able to build muscle, but you're actually going to be able to build strength whilst trying to lose fat at the same time. So let's get straight into it. The first movement pattern I want to talk about is a squat pattern. So this is going to be your barbell back squats, your front squats, goblet squats. These are going to be training your quads. Now the squat pattern is responsible for the biggest muscle group in the body. So you want to be training this hard and heavy. Now I see so many people avoid training legs. One excuse I used to hear a lot is, it's fine, I won't train legs, I'll just wear joggers and no one will see my legs anyway. But did you know that actually training legs can temporarily increase your testosterone? Now this isn't going to be any sort of magical thing. You're not going to start doing squats and all of a sudden your testosterone is doubled, but every little bit helps. And while it might be only temporarily and around 10 to 20% is what I've seen studies show, every little bit helps. So don't be skipping leg day. Now the next movement pattern to master is a hip hinge. This is going to be things like your deadlifts and your RDLs, basically moving at the hip joint. This is going to be responsible for training the hamstrings and the glutes. So you've got your quads sorted now you need to work on the back of the legs. And hip hinges also train your lower back. So training them safely is going to be so important as well. And movement pattern 5 is going to be so important for making sure you're staying safe when doing things like squats, bench and deadlifts. So don't miss that one. But now moving on to movement number 3, we've got push. So push is going to be responsible for your chest, triceps and shoulders. Now these are going to be exercises like the bench press, incline press, overhead press. All of these things are going to be training the front facing muscle. So if you want to have an impressive physique, you want to be training push. Now I know push is probably not one that a lot of people neglect. It's normally the thing that everyone wants to train the most of. But you want to make sure you're doing a bit of everything, not just push. I remember when I first started out, I would want to train my chest at least 3 times a week because I just wanted my chest to grow. I wanted a bigger chest and I neglected so many other muscle groups. Now I make sure I spread it all out evenly throughout the week, so I'm hitting each muscle group twice. Now moving on, we've got number 4, which is pull. So if you're someone that struggles with bad posture, then pull is actually really going to help you correct that. So if you sit at a desk all day, hunched over, shoulders rolled forward, training pull is going to help pull your shoulders back and help correct your posture. So these are going to come from exercises like your rows, pull-ups, lat pull down. These exercises are going to be growing your back. And the great part is, by growing your upper back, it's going to make your waist look smaller and give you that more aesthetic looking physique. And also by making sure that you're training all of these things equally, from the squat movement to hip hinge to push, pull, these are all going to transfer and help in every other area. So training pull doesn't just help train your back. It's also going to help improve all your other exercises. Same with training your legs. The stronger your legs, the better force transfer you're going to have into your upper body on things like the bench press. I see so many guys at the gym who don't use any leg drive when they're trying to do bench press, and they're missing out on so much extra strength and power if they just knew how to use their legs properly to help drive the weight up on the bench press. Now lastly, we've got the most boring one, but the most important one, which is core. Learning how to train your core properly is going to be so important because it's what connects your lower body to your upper body. The stronger your core, the better force transfer you're going to have between upper and lower body. Now when I say core, so many people think, right, to train my core I just need to do sit-ups. What we actually mean by training core, we want to be able to brace properly when we're doing the big lifts like a squat, bench or deadlifts. This means being able to breathe in to the abdominals and create that lifting belt, our own natural lifting belt. So to train your core, you want to be doing exercises like dead bugs, pal-off press, plank. Doing exercises like this is going to help train your core so you're able to brace it properly when doing the big heavy exercises, which is going to keep your lower back safe when you're doing things like your squats, benches and deadlifts. And now these exercises aren't as fun as doing your big heavy movements or your fun isolation exercises that give you a good pump, but they're going to be so important to protect your lower back. I actually neglected them when I first started out because I thought it was boring. Who wants to sit there on the floor doing a plank, doing dead bugs and training properly. It's not very fun, but it resulted in me having so many back problems because I wasn't able to brace my core properly when doing these lifts, and it would end up injuring my lower back. So if you want to avoid injury, making sure you're learning to train your core properly and learning how to brace so that you can actually perform these exercises safely is going to be really, really important. Because as well, if you get injured, that means time off the gym. Time away from the gym means less progress being made. And now you know the 5 movement patterns. You've got a squat pattern, hip hinge, push, pull and core. Now we need to talk about how we spread them out over the week. So we'll just take a simple 3-day full body training split. So on day 1, you could start off with a squat movement into a push movement and then finish with a core. And then on the second day, you could do a hip hinge into a pull movement and finish with core again. And then on the third and final day, you could do a mixture of whatever you feel you need to work on the most. So you could do a little bit more hip hinge and a little bit more push, or you could do a bit more hip hinge and you could do a bit more pull. And in each of those days, you want to be throwing in your isolation exercises, like your machine work, your cables. And that's how you create a good, well-balanced plan spread out throughout the week. And a good way to split it up throughout the week is do Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and then have Saturday and Sunday off to recover, spend time with family. I feel that's the best way to spread it out throughout the week. And then we want to talk about progression. So you don't want to be going in and doing the same weight, the same reps, at the same intensity every single week, because you're not going to be progressively overloading, which basically means just getting better over time. You want to be making sure you're always progressing. So even if that's just adding a tiny bit of weight on each exercise or just a couple extra reps, or you can either, if those are too difficult, just slow down the tempo of the exercise by making that a little bit harder, slowing down the tempo. You're spending more time under tension, which is going to make the exercise harder. And then the next week you can look at trying to add a few more reps, trying to add a little bit more weight. So you're getting better over time. I see it far too often, guys going into the gym and getting stuck and plateauing and not making any progression because they go in with the same exercises for the same weight, the same reps, and they never change it up for the entire year. A good duration for how long you want to be trying to focus on progressing is between 6 to 8 weeks. And then after your 6 to 8 weeks, look to change up some of the exercises to keep it fresh and interesting. But you want to stick with it for at least 6 to 8 weeks so you can have time to actually progress each exercise. And it's so nice when you get to go to the gym and you know exactly what you're doing, what weights you need to be focusing on, and you're not always just guessing. Because it can be tiring and confusing walking into the gym and thinking, oh, what should I do today? What weights do I need to lift? What exercises should I do? When you have a plan, you can walk into the gym knowing exactly what you need to do today. Now that you've mastered the foundations of these 5 movement patterns, you'll be able to not only just build muscle, but strength and lose fat at the same time. So if you found this video helpful, then be sure to go check my last video that's popping up on the screen now. If you want help applying any of the things that we went through today, then just comment saying plan in the comments below, or head over to my Instagram and DM me the words plan and I'll send it over. And as always, links to coaching are in the description below, and I hope to see you in the next one.